perfectly reflected the twilight sky, the gentle stars, and the silver-barked trees, creating a breathtaking, mirrored world. It was impossible to tell where the real world ended and the reflection began. In the middle of the lake, a single large water lily floated. Its petals were the color of the softest dawn, a delicate pink that seemed to glow from within. As Ilara watched, the lily slowly began to open, its petals unfurling with a silent, graceful elegance. From the heart of the opening lily, a soft, warm light began to pulse, a gentle, rhythmic beat like a sleeping heart. The light was not bright or jarring, but a soothing golden glow that spread across the surface of the lake and into the surrounding forest. With each pulse of light, a soft, melodic note hung in the air, a sound so pure and so calming that it seemed to wash away any lingering traces of worry or thought. Ilara sat down on the mossy bank of the lake, the ground soft and yielding beneath her. She felt no need to understand what she was seeing, no desire to analyze or interpret. She was simply a quiet observer, a grateful witness to this beautiful, sleepy spectacle. She watched the lily for a long, long time, its gentle light and calming music washing over her in waves. She felt herself becoming lighter, as if the very essence of her being was merging with the peaceful scene before her. The boundaries of her own self seemed to dissolve, and she became one with the twilight sky, the silent trees, the still water, and the pulsing, gentle light of the lily. The air around her was warm and still. The only sound was the soft, melodic note from the lily, a lullaby for a sleeping world. Ilara lay back on the mossy bank of the lake, her eyes still on the glowing flower. Her breathing was slow and deep, her body completely relaxed. She felt as if she was floating, suspended in a state of perfect peace. The story within the dream continued to unfold with a gentle, unhurried pace. A family of small, luminous creatures, like tiny winged sprites, emerged from the forest. They moved with a slow, graceful dance, their wings leaving faint trails of sparkling dust in the air. They flew towards the lake and hovered over the water, their tiny lights a reflection of the stars above. They didn't make a sound, their presence adding to the quiet magic of the scene. Ilara watched them through heavy-lidded eyes. Their silent, gentle dance was mesmerizing, a visual lullaby that drew her further and further into a state of deep and profound rest. The world of her dream was a sanctuary, a place of perfect tranquility, where everything was designed to soothe and to calm. The pulsing light of the lily began to slow, its rhythm becoming longer and more drawn out. The melodic note that accompanied it became softer and more sustained, a gentle humming sound that vibrated through the very ground she lay on. The sprites, their dance coming to a close, settled on the branches of the silver-barked trees, their lights beginning to dim, like tiny lanterns being slowly extinguished. A soft, sleepy mist began to rise from the surface of the lake, swirling in gentle, slow-moving patterns. It was not a cold or damp mist, but a warm, comforting vapor that carried the scent of moonflowers and starlight. The mist enveloped Ilara, a soft, ethereal blanket that cocooned her in its gentle embrace. She closed her eyes, no longer needing to see the beauty around her, for she could feel it in every fiber of her being. The dream was not something she was merely observing, but something she was a part of. She was the still water, the silent trees, the gentle light. She was the deep, profound peace of this magical, sleepy world. And in the small, cozy cottage in the heart of the tranquil valley, Ilara, the weaver of dreams, snuggled deeper into her rocking chair.
A faint, contented smile graced her lips as she journeyed even further into the peaceful landscapes of her slumber, her mind and body completely at rest, lulled by the gentle story she had woven for herself. The moon, now high in the sky, cast its benevolent gaze upon her, a silent guardian of her tranquil dreams. The night was deep, the world was quiet, and Alara slept on, carried on the gentle currents of a long and peaceful slumber. The final act of Alara's sleepy journey unfolded in a realm of pure, gentle sensation. The narrative of her dream began to dissolve, the images of the lily and the sprites fading like watercolor paintings left in a soft rain. What remained was a state of profound and simple being, a deep and restful awareness. She was no longer in a forest or by a lake. Instead, she felt herself floating in a vast, warm, and comforting space. It was not dark, nor was it bright. It was a soft, neutral space, the color of a warm, milky tea, a color that held no meaning, no emotion, other than pure, untroubled calm. There were no sounds, yet there was not silence. It was the kind of quiet you feel deep in a forest after a fresh snowfall, a quiet that is full and soft and alive. It was a quiet that hummed with a gentle, inaudible energy, a resonance of pure peace. She felt a gentle rhythmic pulse, a slow, steady beat that seemed to be the heartbeat of this tranquil universe. It was the same rhythm as the pulsing lily, but now it was not something she heard, but something she was. Her own being was this slow, steady, and peaceful rhythm. A gentle warmth enveloped her, like being swaddled into countless layers of the softest, most delicate silk. It was a warmth that penetrated to the very core of her being, melting away any last forgotten remnants of tension. Her limbs, which had already felt light, now seemed to be made of the same ethereal substance as the space around her, weightless and free. Slowly, very slowly, a new element introduced itself into this sensory haven. A gentle, undulating current began to move through the space. It was not a strong current, but a soft, lazy, and predictable wave of motion. It was like being a tiny, single drop of water in a vast, calm ocean, being gently rocked by the slow, deep breathing of the world. This gentle motion was the final, perfect lullaby. It was a movement that required no effort, no thought. It was a surrender, a letting go. Alara, in her deep, deep sleep, was simply being rocked in the cradle of her own peaceful dream. The colors in her mind's eye, if they could be called colors, began to deepen, shifting from the milky tea to a soft, warm, and gentle gray, like the fur of a sleeping kitten. It was a color of rest, of quiet, of the moments just before the world awakens. Her breath in the waking world was a soft, almost inaudible whisper. Her body was completely still, her face a mask of pure, untroubled serenity. The rocking chair had long since ceased its motion. The moon had begun its slow descent towards the opposite horizon, its silvery light now casting long, early morning shadows. The first faint hints of dawn were still an hour or more away. The night was at its deepest, its most still. The crickets had sung their final song, and the owl had returned to its silent watch. The valley was in a state of profound and peaceful slumber. And in the heart of that sleeping valley, in the cozy, quiet cottage, Alara, the weaver of dreams, journeyed through the final, most restful stages of her long and peaceful sleep. She was no longer a weaver of dreams, for the dreams themselves had dissolved into a state of pure, restful being. She was simply a soul at peace, her mind and body given over to the gentle, restorative magic of a deep and untroubled slumber. And so she would remain, cradled in the quiet heart of the night, until the first gentle rays of the morning sun would come to kiss the valley awake, bringing with them the promise of a new and peaceful day. But for now, for this long and quiet hour, there was only sleep, deep, restful, and profoundly peaceful sleep.